Hey, Rob from Morning 42 here, and you know what? Let's start off first by me thanking you for watching these videos. It's been really cool to see. The last few videos have done really well. I mean, for me, small, humble channel that I am, it's cool to see people, doing the whole thing, liking, the commenting, the subscribing. I really do appreciate that. I mean, I think any content creator will tell you that yeah, it's fun to make content, but it's also really awesome for people to enjoy the content. So thank you for that. And yeah, I apologize for the last couple of weeks have been kind of sparse on the channel because I haven't really been feeling well. But yeah, I made the turn, right. I'm starting to feel better. So yeah, let's without further ado, let's get caught up, shall we? So to start off, yeah, Bullet Train has been one of those projects that I've been kind of had my eye on for the last, I don't know, few months. As soon as I heard that Brad Pitt was involved in sort of an assassin, sort of almost heist movie kind of idea, I've been like, yeah, it sounds awesome, sounds really cool. And then the news came out last week that Sandra Bullock is joining. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, the actual synopsis, it's based on the popular manga Maria Beetle by Kotaro Osaka. Bullet Train is expected to follow several assassins who find themselves on a fast-moving bullet train from Tokyo to Morioka, with only a few stops in between. Strangely, they discover their missions are not unrelated to each other. I mean, it sounds almost like they're getting a sort of an Ocean's 11 style, team together, and of course they're all going to be they're probably not going to like each other very much, and they're probably going to have it just sounds like a cool idea. I'm very excited to see where this goes, and yeah, it's actually really strange too that this is the first time that Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt have been in a movie together. I had to really stop and think about that for a minute, and it was like, yeah, I mean, this could be really fun. I mean, a bunch of cool actors together doing something that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm in. So let's put this in one of those situations where it's not official yet, but the idea was so intriguing that I kind of wanted to mention it. Basically, the rumor is that Keanu Reeves might headline his own spin-off movie from Spider-Man as Kraven the Hunter. Um, Look, it sounds like an intriguing idea, but this comes to us from Illuminerdi, right? This is off of JoBlo.com, but this comes from Illuminerdi, not exactly Deadline or Variety. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to take a lot of stock, put a lot of stock into it, But and here's the thing: Kraven the Hunter is a Russian immigrant, right? And his probably the biggest story when it comes to Spider-Man, his biggest arc, I guess you could say, was Kraven's last hunt. But here's the thing: Keanu Reeves isn't known for doing accents. Okay, I mean, you're looking at probably one of the biggest Keanu Reeves fans and apologists over his whole career, right? When people were like, "Oh my gosh, Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, are you serious?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 give him a shot." Look, the guy's not known for doing accents, okay? And when he does, it's horrific, okay? Bram Stoker's Dracula, have you seen that? His British accent is so terrible in that movie. It's bad. It's bad. So I don't know. I mean, this is interesting. This almost seems like fan casting though. It's like it seems like, who would you pick if you could get anybody to play this role? Who would That's kind of how this is sounding. But we'll keep an eye on it and see where it goes. I mean, I'm interested. This news came out last week as well, and I mean, I have to say it's a little surprising and a little just kind of out of nowhere. But we've got a possible True Lies reboot coming to TV. I mean, okay. I mean, it's an interesting idea, of course. And this is all like preliminary. There's no casting yet or anything like that. But we've got Matt Nix involved. Matt Nix did the show Burn Notice on USA, and I don't know if you've seen Burn Notice, but it's fine. It's just fine. I mean, there's nothing terrible about it, but it's not exactly like, oh my God, man, have you seen Burn Notice? It's just one of those kinds of shows. McG, I mean, the biggest movies that he's been a part of is Charlie's Angels and We Are Marshall and Terminator Salvation. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, of course, James Cameron is James Cameron, but he's also kind of executive produced a lot of things here. So I can't really count him as like the driving force for this story and for everything here. And then you've got the fact that it's going to be on CBS. And look, I got to be honest with you, CBS has been shaky lately. I mean, when's the last time anybody told you, oh my God, you have to get CBS All Access? It just really hasn't happened. I mean, a lot of their recent stuff has been sort of, lukewarm. The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of this stuff, so I can't comment on it specifically. I'm judging by what the consensus is, and everything is kind of like, yeah, it's fine. It's just fine. The Clarice show, where it's sort of a spin-off of Silence of the Lambs, but because of weird rights issues, they can't involve Hannibal at all. So it's really just about Clarice. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot of great things about that. Then we've got the Star Trek shows. Those have been all over the place as far as the reception of them. And the Stand miniseries has been, yeah, a lot of people haven't been too happy with it. So I don't know. Look, I never want anything to fail, but I just see I don't know. I guess we'll see how this goes. I mean, we'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully, they cast really well, and we can see where this goes. It could be interesting. So this came out last week as well, kind of in the wake of all of the Gina Carano news. But anyway, yeah, we got Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal to star in The Last of Us, as Ellie and Joel. And Bella Ramsey, she played Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, a very memorable character. And I mean, even back then, when she was very young, she just sort of radiates this charisma and this intelligence. And I think that's really cool. And it's cool for the character of Ellie. And I gotta say, Pedro Pascal as Joel is not who I would have picked at all. That didn't even cross my mind that they would pick Pedro Pascal. But I got to say, I'm really interested to see how he takes this and where he takes it. Because, I mean, Pedro Pascal, a lot of us have been watching him for a very, very long time and have always been impressed with him. But he really sort of he sort of propelled himself into stardom with The Mandalorian. So it'll be cool to see, how he does without a mask on, This came out just a few hours ago, and it was kind of, for me, it was like in the wake of all of this talk about Disney Plus, sort of exceeding their projections, right? They wanted to have 90 million subscribers by the end of 2024, but they've actually, in 1 year, 95 million subscribers. So they've beaten their 4-year projections. Now, this is also one of those things where you think, I mean, was that just a way to, sort of underpromise and overdeliver, or was it more of an actual goal? I mean, I would think that they probably had a pretty good idea that at that price point, they were going to be able to get out the gate pretty fast. Not to mention you have The Mandalorian becoming the hit, the worldwide. I mean, holy crap. Everybody was talking about The Mandalorian. Everybody's talking about Baby Yoda. So, of course, it just grew and grew and grew. Now, but there's analysts out there, and this is digital TV research that's saying this. They're saying that by the end of 2026, that Disney Plus will exceed Netflix. Now, I have to say, I've been thinking a lot about this and about the strategies of studios. And this is something that, it's not even on the show. It's not something I, talk about on the Twitch show or anything like that. I'm literally it's just something I think about a lot because I love the industry. I love seeing how these studios play chess with what they have and their different projects and their different, their tentpole releases. How do they do this? And how do they make these decisions? So it's really, really interesting to see that someone else is also projecting that Disney Plus will beat Netflix. I think it'll be sooner. I mean, from my perspective, look, I'm no analyst, and I'm not just deep all the way into financials and subscriber counts and price points and all of these things. I don't do any of that. I'm looking at this just from what I've seen and what I know. And it seems like to me that if Disney Plus can keep that momentum up, if Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out and just goes gangbusters, right? And it's just like, oh my God, you've got to see Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, you've got The Mandalorian, you've got WandaVision, and then you've got Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's going to be a boost that's probably just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And I think more and more people are realizing that, yeah, I mean, Disney Plus may not have everything you want, but it is a great value for what you get. I mean, just the idea of having all of the Star Wars movies, all of the Marvel movies and series, right? And then plus you've got all the Pixar movies and the Disney movies and then National Geographic. You've got, I mean, there's a lot of content, a lot of value for that price point. And then you look at HBO Max, and they've got plenty of great stuff too, but it's over twice the price. So it's just one of those things that it's interesting to kind of see how this is going. And Netflix is trying to, boost their price, their monthly price up to HBO Max's $14.99 standard as well. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, I just thought this was really interesting. And then that leads us into the talk that, yeah, they've doubled down. They've doubled down and said that no, Black Widow is still on pace to go to theaters only, right? I mean, that's what Kevin Feige announced at the Disney Investor Day a couple of months ago, was that, yeah, Black Widow is not doing this premiere access thing. It's a theatrical release. And he's doubled down recently and said the same thing. He just keeps reiterating it. And Bob Chapek said this on their call, their investor call on Thursday, that, yeah, the plan is, no, Black Widow is going to theaters. Now, if you think about the way that things are going right now, with the pandemic, with the vaccines and things like that, a lot of theaters still aren't open yet. So I just can't see it. I can't see it still happening by May. I just don't see it. I think that they might push it another 2 months or so. It's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, I think. I think by probably the first week of March, they'll have to make a decision, because that'll be 2 months out. That's when you'd really want to start your marketing push, your new trailers and things like that, to get really, people ramped up again. Because, I mean, we had a couple of trailers already for Black Widow, but people have kind of moved on and they've kind of forgotten that was a thing. So you have to remind them again. So before you spend any money on trailers, do you really want to make sure that you plant that flag in May? I just think it might be a little bit soon, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. And of course, they're really going to be keeping a close eye on how Raya the Last Dragon does, when it comes to premiere access and theaters. They're going to be keeping a close eye on that. And I think probably within a week of that release, that's when they'll make that final decision on whether Black Widow stays where it is, or if maybe they go the premiere access route. They've pretty much said no, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. This came out just a couple of hours ago, at least at the time of this recording. It was that Mission Impossible 7 and 8 are no longer going to be shooting back to back. And this is because of the release schedule, right? And the fact that when Top Gun comes out, Tom Cruise will have to do some promotional stuff for that. He's not going to have time to sit there and continue doing, because apparently Mission Impossible 7 is almost complete. So it says, this is from Deadline. This is an exclusive, apparently. It says, as Mission Impossible 7 nears completion after a remarkable globe-trotting pandemic-era shoot, I can reveal that the plan to shoot the franchise's 8th edition back-to-back has been altered by Paramount. And Paramount, they really need Top Gun to be a hit. I mean, they really need it. They need it bad. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how all of this... It's like chess, right? It's Queen's Gambit all over again. I mean, just constantly moving pieces around and trying to say, okay, well, if we want a movie for this time period in summer 2022, we've got to make sure that we have it shot and locked and all that kind of stuff by this date, and we've got to do this, and then there's all of these things up in the air right now. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. I mean, hopefully Top Gun is as good as we all hope it will be, and Paramount can get back on track. I mean, because I think that it's been a while since they've had a hit. So, yeah, I guess we'll see where this goes. And finally today, I just want to give my thoughts on the final trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, I have to say, if you look at what a trailer is supposed to do, and it's supposed to take whatever interest level that you have and, bump it up a few notches, right? That's what John Campea says. I think that's very, very, yeah, that's exactly what a trailer is supposed to do. I can't say that I'm any more excited for the movie than I was already. I'm really excited about the movie, not so much from the movie itself, but just from the idea of a director being able to go back and re-edit and sort of retool this idea. And of course, this is a sort of a unique situation because most of the footage that we're going to be seeing was shot back during principal photography, and it never has seen the light of day. So this is a really, really interesting thing from a movie standpoint, in general. I have to say, the one thing that really concerns me about it is that there's not a whole lot of character interaction. All of those things work in concert together. When you have a movie, right, you've got your character and your plot and your story and your lore and your, all of these things work together in concert to convey an idea. If all you've got is action shots, that concerns me because that makes me think I pretty much know the story from Joss Whedon's Justice League. At least the shell of the story is there, but where's the character interaction? Where's the levity? Of course, Zack Snyder has said that there's not going to be very much humor in the movie, which is, yay. I don't know. It looks very brooding. It looks like a lot of action scenes. It doesn't seem to have, I should say, a whole lot of substance. That it's just going to be a lot of explosions and a lot of action. Look, we'll see. I don't know how you could possibly keep that up for 4 hours. I mean, there's got to be some actual story in there, but we'll see. I mean, I'm trying to be as positive as I can be about it, because again, from a movie standpoint, just the way the business works, you don't get to see this kind of thing. I think what really sets this movie apart from other sort of retoolings, you had Ridley Scott do Blade Runner, and he's done Alien. He's done a couple of movies like that. Legend, he even did. I mean, George Lucas, of course, famously did his special editions for the original Star Wars. Francis Ford Coppola, just recently redid a cut of The Godfather 3. All of those. Apocalypse Now. Gosh, he's done a few of those, hasn't he? But this is a different situation because you really have a bunch of footage that was shot during principal photography, and it was basically set aside. And then Joss Whedon came in to basically do a bunch of reshoots, right? And retool the story. So this is really interesting. I mean, it's not just a director's cut. It's almost as if Disney went back to Phil Lord and Chris Miller and said, you know what? Just go ahead and finish Solo the way that you think it would have been. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So that's really interesting to me to see how this is going to play out. And I'm really excited to see, if it's good at all. But at the same time, I'm also really interested in the presentation of it. So, I mean, you're talking about 4 hours. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot for any movie. I mean, have you seen Gone with the Wind? It's a chore. It's a chore to get through, right? I mean, there's an intermission in place. So I'm really, really interested how it's edited. If it flows well, if it just literally feels like, a bunch of different set pieces just kind of crammed together. I'm really, really interested from that point of view. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think. I mean, I hope it's great. I hope it's awesome. I always hope it's awesome. It's very rare that I'm ever sitting there looking at a project and saying, you know what? I hope that's crap. And I hope that I hate it. I want it to be good. So, fingers crossed. It's funny because there's a tendency with expectations, right? Expectations can ruin a movie experience, especially the first time. I think in a lot of ways I've sort of kind of dogged the idea of speculation, because what ends up happening is when the movie comes out and it's nothing like what you had expected, it can ruin the experience. And I don't want to say that you can't speculate, or anything, that speculation is bad. I just think it's really, really hard to manage your expectations, right? So that's why I don't do a whole lot of speculation about certain shows or movies or things like that, just because I don't want that to get in the way. I mean, it does get in the way sometimes anyway, just thoughts I've had. But hopefully, you can manage those expectations in a way that you're not judging the final product by something it can never actually be. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack today. There's a lot of news, a lot of talk, a lot of interesting things. So yeah, I'd be interested to know what you think. So yeah, leave those comments down below, and we'll talk about it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, I mean, I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.